Hello and welcome to the Tips and Tricks for Your Disney World Vacation webinar. We'll be talking about effectively spending your time and money during your Disney World vacation. So I will be your host of this webinar. My name is Rebecca Green and I run my own public relations company in Orlando called Green to Gold. I'm an avid Disney goer, annual pass holder for 3 years now, make about 25 trips to Disney annually. So I've come to learn a lot of little shortcuts and helpful tips to maximize your time and enjoyment in the parks. And I do have with me a guest host, Freddie Cruz. He's the founder of Raiders of the Theme Parks, which is a blog and vlog kind of dedicated towards news and updates about anything going on at Disney or Universal or Orlando parks in general. He runs Periscope, live events, Facebook for it, and Twitter as well. He's a Forwardcast member and also an annual pass holder too, averaging about over 30 trips to the parks a year. So thanks so much for joining me today, Freddie.
You're welcome.
So let's roll right into it. I first wanted to kind of go over with you the different modes of transportation to the parks from the Ticket and Transport Center. There is the bus, which is kind of the least romantic option, but it's a very viable option if you're staying at the resorts or going from park to park if you're doing park hopper. The ferry boat, probably the most whimsical and scenic way to travel to the Magic Kingdom, and then the monorail, which kind of feels really like a ride within itself.
Now, in regards to the monorail, quick tip is if the line for the express monorail is too long, you can always take the resort monorail. Yes. A lot of times people think that, resort means only for resort guests and it's exclusive, but it's not. So you can mosey on over there if you see the line to the, express monorail is just too long for you.
Good point. So now you're in the parks, you just walk through the magic gates, and you're kind of standing there on Main Street thinking, what now? And it's an easy thing to feel. It's very common to feel overwhelmed as soon as you get in because Disney's done a great job with theming, with making everything just take you to another world. So we kind of want to give you a bunch of tips and advice of where to go, what to eat, what shows to see. So you have more of a guideline of points of interest that you'll want to see while you're there so that you don't feel as lost when you walk into the parks themselves. So I took this photo the other day at the parks. It's actually of the ticket sales during peak season, which is now about April, March through really July. So we're at $124 for a single park ticket. So it's by no means cheap to get into Disney. So that's just why we kind of recommend maybe looking into the park hopper option that you'll see there, $164. So you can go to any of the parks or even getting an annual pass as well. That might be a good option too. So we'll kind of go through this map as well. Looking at it for the first time, it looks extremely daunting, and they actually laid it out really well. But since there are so many things to do and so many things to see here at Disney, it's easy to feel like it's hard to read. So we'll kind of break it down for you and give you a little bit of a walkthrough through it for some of these attractions that we go over. So the first event that we definitely would recommend is actually Festival of Fantasy. It's kind of the king of all parades that happen here at Disney. Because all of the main characters that you would imagine show up, everyone from Belle to Tangled characters. The music is great for it and happens right on the streets of Main Street and then in front of the castle, the hub as well. And then we also would like to recommend as well Celebrate the Magic, which is the nighttime projection show. So they project onto the castle. It's amazing to see. And it's immediately followed by Wishes, which is the nighttime firework spectacular that happens too. So we recommend if you're going to go to the parks, maybe hit them around early afternoon so that you have enough energy to stay for these shows because they all happen at night.
Yeah, and it kind of goes hand in hand because there are resort guests that want to get there first thing in the morning, which is totally cool. And I would recommend actually doing that because a lot of the resorts offer what's called extra magic hours. So they allow the resort guests to come into the parks a few hours early or actually stay after the parks close a few hours late. So you can always take advantage of those options only if you are a resort guest. But coming in mid-afternoon would be good for a lot of other people because, staying at the parks from sunup to sundown is daunting and not very many people are able to do it. And you don't want to be cranky at Disney. So
Very true. And there are, of course, a lot of other shows to see at Magic Kingdom, like Dream Along with Mickey and things like that, Electric Light Parades. We recommend those too, but these are definitely our main ones that you should definitely see. So moving on to food, there are a lot of quick service food options at Magic Kingdom. The first of which is Casey's Corner, located on Main Street. I always go for the Polish. Freddie, what do you normally get?
Always go for the coney dog.
So yeah, that's a good one. And there's also Sleepy Hollow, which is in Liberty Square. It's kind of a little hidden gem, but they have an amazing Nutella waffle that you see pictured there. And then Gaston's Tavern, located in Fantasyland. It's beautifully themed. When you walk in, it's just like the movie. They have stew and LeFou's Brew, which is kind of a sweet drink. And then also the Cosmic Ray's Starlight Cafe in Tomorrowland too. Yeah. So that's kind of classic Americana, chicken nuggets, pulled pork sandwich, fries, that kind of menu. And there are some full service dining restaurants as well, kind of mid-range to higher range in price. The ones that we recommend are going to be Our Guest. And there's really not that many options in Magic Kingdom in comparison to some of their other parks, but Be Our Guest is definitely one that you would have to eat at. Lunch or dinner, doesn't matter. They're both delicious. And there's 3 separate rooms. That's the ballroom that you see featured there. There's the West Wing as well, and then the library section too. So it's gorgeous. If you don't eat, at least have a walkthrough of the castle itself. There is also Skipper's Canteen. That's one that we actually went to the other night over in Adventureland. Kind of a mixture of African and Asian fusion, so it was really good.
Really good.
Mm-hmm. Definitely try the dumplings. And then this one here, this is actually an Epcot. The next one will be as well, just because if you do the park hopper option, they're absolutely something that you should try. San Angel is a Mexican restaurant in the Aztec Temple of Mexico, and the World Showcase Pavilion, and then Tokyo Dining as well. A great sushi experience. They give you warm towels and everything. It's great. So a lot of those sit-down restaurants actually require like reservations and things, but they make it very easy at Disney. There's actually an app for Walt Disney World specifically from Disney. And it's available on Apple and Android, so definitely, download that. And you'll see this is kind of what the menu looks like. It'll show you park hours, even the wait times for some of the rides, how to set up fast passes too. So as long as you connect with everyone in your party, we always recommend that because they do have magic bands, which really streamlines everything.
Yeah, and this app, completely free. Setting up fast passes, also free. I know that there's been a myth that fast passes cost money, but that's not true. So you can do everything from your phone, and if you don't have the app on your phone to set up fast passes, you can actually go to fast pass kiosks in the park. And, they have cast members there that'll help you set that kind of stuff up too.
Mm-hmm. And also you'll notice there's Photo Pass over in the menu too. So if you take any pictures or the free photographers that are set up throughout the park, it'll show up in that app as well. So it's a great thing. And you should also connect to the Wi-Fi at Disney, because if you're using this application and running your phone a lot, you don't want to have to, rack up your data too much. So Disney does have free Wi-Fi to everyone that comes to the park. It's just called Disney. So you can connect to that. So we do want to go through the rides as well. Most people come to Disney and Magic Kingdom for the rides. So we'll give a walkthrough of this map and how to get to these different attractions. The first one, of course, Pirates of the Caribbean. It's a classic, so you definitely have to go do it. And it's different than Disneyland's. I know that there's differences between the two. So if you've been to one, still try the other one because it's a little bit different. So how to get there, if you walk in through the park, you're going down Main Street. You'll actually pass Casey's Corner there on the left. You'll turn left into Adventureland. Keep going straight. You'll pass through by Skipper's Canteen as well, that restaurant that we mentioned, and then straight on through to Pirates there. The next one, Splash Mountain. Definitely a water ride. You will absolutely get wet. It's one of Disney's more intense rides. Has a pretty intense view that you see right there. So make a trip to that. And it's not far from Pirates at all. So if you're looking at the map, you just go up a hill and it's right there. Our next ride, Big Thunder Mountain Railway. I personally haven't ridden this one too much. It's a little bit too fast for my taste, but Freddie, how would you kind of describe it?
It's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Yeah, so it's definitely one to check out as well. It's also not far. It's all within Frontierland, which is just next to Adventureland. So just up that hill, you'll see Thunder Mountain right there. And now on to the best ride in the whole park, Haunted Mansion. This one has a special place in my heart. It's just gorgeous to walk through. The music is great. It's just a good experience. So that's actually located in Liberty Square. So if you take a walk back down the hill that you came through, past Tom Sawyer Island, up through Liberty Square, and you'll see it up on that hill there, Haunted Mansion. And now moving into Fantasyland, There aren't too many rides that I would recommend in Fantasyland if you're on a time crunch. A lot of them are very fun to ride, like Peter Pan's Flight is great. The Little Mermaid ride is awesome as well, but it's very themed towards children. So that's something to keep in mind too, is you don't always have to ride all of the rides within Fantasyland, but this one is definitely one to catch. It's actually a 3D show featuring all of the music within Disney movies, so you'll have a great time with that. And that's actually located right next to the carousel. So if you're going from Haunted Mansion, you'll walk through Fantasyland, and it's right across from the carousel, Mickey's PhilharMagic. And there's also the Seven Dwarfs Mine. I've never ridden that because the line is usually pretty crazy since it opened about 2 years ago. We've seen, like
120, 160-minute wait.
Yeah, so it's an investment. That would definitely be a good one to fast pass if you are interested in going to that. So that's located right there in Fantasyland as well. And we did want to point out that Be Our Guest is in Fantasyland as well, the restaurant that we mentioned earlier for Beauty and the Beast. So definitely stop by there. And then there is a section of the park next to Fantasyland called like Circus. It's kind of Dumbo themed. I really would honestly recommend skipping it. There's not really too much for you to see there if you don't have children. So we'll move past that into Tomorrowland. And Space Mountain is definitely a ride that you'll want to go to. Lots of dips and drops and turns. It's really kind of a roller coaster in the dark. It simulates going through space and navigating through asteroids. So it's pretty exhilarating. So that one is in Tomorrowland. And to get there, you would just go close out the night. Probably the most relaxing ride is the People Mover. And that's located in Tomorrowland as well. It's very informational, it's just not fast moving at all. You kind of just sit and go through all the different parts of Tomorrowland. It will talk about the history of it, take you through Space Mountain so you'll see another perspective of it. And that is located just across from Space Mountain there. So you'll of course want to see at some point the beautiful castle. And you'll never see it as clear as this, just so you know, there will always be people in your way. And this is a great place to stand if you're looking for watching any of the nighttime shows like Wishes, the Electric Light Parade, anything like that. So to get there, you'll actually just go from the People Mover down this long sidewalk, and it will actually take you out straight to the hub right in front of the main castle there. So that's a great place to stand for those nighttime events, but also I personally recommend standing on Main Street itself, anywhere near those little red trash cans that you see, because you'll have basically this view of the castle, so you'll see everything just as well as if you're standing a little bit closer. The benefit to this is you can exit the park a lot quicker, because as soon as those shows end, people are kind of cattle moving out of the parks. So the closer you are to the exit, which you will be closer to Main Street, the better. But before you leave, grab yourself a little treat. Freddie, what's your favorite treat?
Mickey's Premium.
It's a popular one. So these are sold pretty much at any of the little ice cream shops, little ice cream stands that you see anywhere within the park through the different sections. I personally love Dole Whip. That's my favorite. And that's over in Adventureland. So definitely make sure that you're treating yourself to those kinds of things while you're in the park or before you leave. And if you do park hop, we did want to go through kind of a handful of must-see attractions and other things that you would see if you did park hopped. So starting with Epcot, there are a lot of street performers. Quick Step is one that's actually located in the UK pavilion of Epcot. Really great kind of Irish, UK, British music played. And then the Jewel Dragon Acrobats in China are wonderful to see as well. Illuminations, Epcot holds their own fireworks show at night. It's beautiful, all of the countries light up, spoiler. And then Fantasmic. I'll let Freddie take the wheel on this one because I know this one is pretty special to you.
It's a must-do show when you're at Hollywood Studios. It pretty much encompasses everything that I love. It's a villains-themed show, but it does have a happy ending naturally, but you're able to see all the characters. It's got pyrotechnics, fire on water. It's got pretty much everything that you would want in a Disney show, and it's by far one of my favorites.
Awesome, yeah. And that's one that you should fast pass to as well, just to kind of get good seats because the stadium fills up pretty quick. Symphony and the Stars, and that's also one of Hollywood Studios' Star Wars theme. So they play Star Wars music, sound bites from the movies. It's a gorgeous show. I saw it before I even saw the Star Wars movies, and then after, and it had the same effect on me. It was just amazing. So you don't even have to be a big Star Wars fan to really, really enjoy it. And then moving on to Animal Kingdom, there's Festival of the Lion King, a stage performance show. There's acrobats. It's interactive, so it's a really good thing to catch at Animal Kingdom. And then also new to Animal Kingdom is Rivers of Light.
Yeah, and this attraction is actually opening April 22nd. So make sure that you guys do catch it if you're catching this recording around that time. Brand new show taking place in the lagoon in front of Expedition Everest. It's pretty much a nighttime water and light show. So it's the first of its kind, at least in Animal Kingdom. It's going to really offer a lot of cool things and allow people to actually stay in Animal Kingdom a heck of a lot longer than you would be able to stay in it right now. So that's something to for sure check out over the next couple weeks.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to see that launch. And as far as rides go, in Epcot, Spaceship Earth, that one's a great one to catch. It's a journey through time. And much like the People Mover in Magic Kingdom, this ride's a great way to kind of close out the night. You just sit in a slow-moving vehicle, and it takes you through that journey. Hollywood Tower of Terror, if you're in Hollywood Studios, is an amazing one.
It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gut dropping every single time. So it's amazing. Star Tours, the Star Wars themed ride as well. That's fairly newer. And they're of course expanding the Star Wars section of Hollywood Studios as well. So I'm sure that will grow even more. And then also if you're in Animal Kingdom, Expedition Everest as well, which is, by far probably the more intense ride on Disney property. So just to kind of recap what we covered today, we had gone through kind of going around noon if you aren't staying in the resorts, considering that park hopper option, because it could save you time and you'd get to experience more, or really save you money and experience more, connecting to that Disney Wi-Fi network when you're there, downloading the My Disney Experience app, getting a Magic Band, using fast passes. We talked about reserving reservations at sit-down restaurants, taking that resort monorail rather than the express monorail to get to Magic Kingdom on the more packed days. We went over different lower cost and higher cost meals, what shows you should catch, the rides that you should ride, and of course the snacks that you should treat yourself to as well. Some additional tips. The resort lobbies and all of the restaurants within resorts are actually open to the public. Not a lot of people know that. So you can go in and actually enjoy some of the restaurants and facilities on property of those resorts. The Polynesian has a really great restaurant called Trader Sam's. You can also watch fireworks from the beach. You can watch the Magic Kingdom fireworks from there. So that's a great thing to do if you just want to have more of a low-key evening. There's also a great sushi restaurant actually in the Swan Resort as well called Kimonos. You can send any souvenirs that you buy to be held at the front of the park, the front desk. So that's a good thing as well. It just has to take 3 hours to get there, or you can have it shipped to your room too, rather than holding on to it the whole day. There are hidden Mickeys throughout the park to keep an eye out for on really almost any ride. There's some on Haunted Mansion and everything. Cast members will trade pins with you if you get into pin trading. Starbucks will give you free water, so that way you're not buying water bottles every 2 hours. And then there's also Disney bounding, so you can actually dress up like a character, but subtly when you go to the parks. It's fun to do with friends, so if you want to dress up like Ariel, you could just wear a simple purple shirt, green pants, have red hair. So those are just some fun things that you can do as well. Is there anything else that we kind of forgot to cover at all?
No, I think we pretty much covered the basics.
I think so. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope that you get some insight out of this webinar and that you really enjoy your time at Disney. Thanks so much, and thanks, Freddie, for joining me today.
No problem. You're welcome.